Thing. Page 97. I'm bound for the promised land. Page 97. What'd you say? What'd you say? Alright. Okay. On Jordan's stormy banks I stand, cast a wishful eye to Canaan's fair and happy land where my possessions lie. I am bound for the promised land, bound for the promised land. Oh, who will come and go with me? I am bound for the promised land. All o'er those wide extended plains shines one eternal day. There God the Son forever reigns and scatters night away. I am bound for the promised land. I'm bound for the promised land. Oh, who will come and go with me? I am bound for the promised land. No chilling winds nor poisonous breath can reach that healthful shore. Sickness and sorrow, pain and death are felt and fear no more. I am bound for the promised land. I'm bound for the promised land. Oh, who will come and go with me? I am bound for the promised land. When shall I reach that happy place and be forever blessed? When shall I see my Father's face and in his bosom rest? I am bound for the promised land. I am bound for the promised land. Oh, who will come and go with me? I am bound for the promised land. Can you imagine a place where sickness and sorrow, pain, or death are felt and feared no more? We're never going to be sick again. It seems like, I don't know, not every day, but for I don't know, for 2 weeks. Off and on, I got sinus headaches and drainage stuff's going on. Josiah's had it for the last couple of days, earache and all, and everyone goes through it. I was see a customer the other day, and she said, "Hey, how's your Christmas?" I told her we're doing pretty good. So I had this burning thing for like 3 days, and I thought it was sugar. She said she thinks it's a virus going around because a lot of people have it's like a acid reflux, and it's just like a virus that's getting, and that's where it hits you. I said, okay. She said it's all over, and that was up in Sistersville, West Virginia. She said everyone seems to have this thing going on. So that's what I had there, I guess. All right. Anybody else have prayer requests? We're not going to be sick anymore once we get there. I'm looking forward to that time. Okay? Okay. Okay. And Patty said, someone else texted her not here because whatever reason, but other people were sick too. So just pray for everyone's going through everybody, I guess. Okay. Pray for Michelle for full recovery. Charlie said she's already past full recovery stage, right? She thinks so. Just don't make her laugh too hard, right? It's because it. Very good. Okay, anybody else with prayer requests? Anybody with unspoken requests that you want to pray about? Nothing mentioned out loud. All right, let's go to prayer. Charlie, we lead some prayer. I looked up during the prayer, Charlie. I had to see who was at the door. Right, Alan? All right. A couple things on a couple announcements. Marie's taking up something for Tyler's school, box tops and pop tops, I guess it is. Okay. Okay. Okay, it's separate from the other. Okay. Okay. Friday, January 11th, that's not this Friday, but it's following Friday, is the Soul Winning Conference over at Maranatha. It starts at 6 o'clock. It'll be over by 9 o'clock. So anybody can go. We want everyone to sign up, but we need to know how many people are going. We made copies of those things that are in the back, right? Okay, they're in the bulletins for, okay, so for this Sunday we'll have, I'd like to get them Sunday night, by next Sunday night. They need to know how many people are coming, and they want me to put a list together, okay? I mean, I'm sure if someone decides next Friday, they're supposed to work or they can get off, whatever, and they can go, I'm sure they'll take anybody who walks through the door at the time, and it doesn't cost anything, so it's not like we're saving up money for this or paying for a certain number. They just want to know how many people to prepare for. I looked at some of the information, we've been witnessing people since 1980. But like I said, a lot of times when I first started witnessing people, I had no idea what I was saying or how to explain to something so someone. You read John chapter 3 when Nicodemus is talking to Jesus, and Jesus said, "You must be born again." And he said, "How can a man enter second time into his mother's womb?" He doesn't understand it. A lot of times, when I first started witnessing to people, I felt like that, where I was like, these people don't understand what I'm saying. Well, I'm not even sure if I can get it across clearly. But once I memorize some verses and they kind of have more of a plan to go by, then it makes it a whole lot easier to witness to people. It's kind of just how to get to step one, to get to witness to somebody. There's something at the door. No. Okay, I thought they were coming in. Okay, never mind. Okay, I saw them. I maybe I wasn't. The two. Oh, got it. Moses is setting out two. Very good. Okay, so now they know what they're looking for. They've gone on from here. That's amazing what they're doing. That's good, Charlie. I'm glad you knew what was going on, because I was like, okay, are we supposed to open the door and let them in? But they're spies. Very good. Okay. Alrighty. So the Soul Winning Conference is on the 11th and the 12th, and everything else went well. We had bowling the other night. Everyone had a great time at the bowling alley. Alan saying his game wasn't what it used to be. 2 replaced hips, and he can't feel anything in his hand. His hand's numb because it's understandable. All right. Anybody have testimony? God's blessed you with something you want to tell everybody about it? Very good. Yeah, we enjoyed the leftovers. Good, very good. For those of you who don't know, here the heart valve is the calf. They use the valve on a calf, right? Is that right? Cow's heart, yeah. What a valve, about right. So Jim Summers took him some hay at the hospital, just to say, I've had a lot of. I've ingested a lot of hay before, but most of it's through my nose, just breathing while you're putting it up. It's got Got plenty of it. Okay, very good. All right, I'm glad David's doing well. His heart's doing well. Anybody else? God's blessed you with something you want to tell everybody about it. When we were at Canaan 20 or 30 some years ago, on Wednesday night they didn't even have a lesson. They read one verse and they said, "Okay, it's up to you. Y'all. Everybody's got a witness for you. Everyone's got to testify. If you won't testify in church, you won't testify outside church." Right, Tammy? Is that what they said all the time? And one guy in front, he'd stand up, hand behind his back, and he'd stood like he'd rock back and forth like this. He'd say the same thing every Wednesday night. It's fine, but God's blessed you with something to let everybody know. Okay. Going once, going twice. All right. Yeah. Very good. Assurance is a great thing. Yes? Very good. Better than twice a year, isn't it? Yeah. We're all thankful you moved home. Very good. Yeah. it's not required. Well, it's a blessing. I mean, it's not required of anybody that they have to do anything. It is a blessing. I was laying in the back behind my truck trying to work on something, and it got to the point where I was going to have to try to use a socket wrench up here where I couldn't see, and hold a pair of pliers under here where I could see, and laying on the ground. I had a flashlight in my mouth so I could see the nut on this side. And you think, well, you've never, but you know what I'm talking about, right? Whatever you got to get something done. And I looked up. Here's Alan pulling up. Okay, what are you doing? Well, I'm struggling right now. He was driving down 21 and could see me laying under the truck or something. I don't know why he pulled in there, but he just pulled in there. It was just a great blessing for him to come by. What day was that? Was that Saturday? This is Saturday, wasn't it? Yeah, Saturday. Yeah, and thanks, Alan. I mean, I was trying to load cows one time and I was stuck. I was by myself trying to load cows, and heard David coming through the barn. I guess I don't think he knew I was loading at that time, but I mean, everyone shows up. It's a great blessing. Church family, great blessing. All right, anybody else? Till they call you back and say, we can't operate without you. You need to come back. 2 days a week, maybe 1 day a week, something. We can't find this file. Okay, very good. Anybody else? All right, 1 Kings chapter 3. 1 Kings chapter 3. Before we started talking about wisdom, maybe a month ago, probably 6 weeks ago, we went into Proverbs looking at wisdom. And I think we read through this story. Solomon has just become king. He's asked for wisdom, and God said, "I will give you wisdom." And this is the first illustration of the wisdom that God has given him, and everybody knows what's going on. That Solomon's asked for this, and God's given it to him. Hold on a second. All right, 1 Kings chapter 3. Look at verse 15. And Solomon awoke, as he had been talking to God, and behold, it was a dream. And he came to Jerusalem, stood before the ark of the covenant of the Lord, and offered up burnt offerings and offered peace offerings, and made a feast to all his servants. Then came there 2 women that were harlots unto the king, and stood before him. And the one woman said, O my Lord, I and this woman dwell in one house, and I was delivered of a child with her in the house. And it came to pass the 3rd day after I was delivered, that this woman was delivered also, and we were together. There was no stranger with us in the house, save we 2 in the house. And this woman's child died in the night, because she overlaid it. And she arose at midnight, and took my son from beside me, while thine handmaid slept, and laid it in her bosom, and laid her dead child in my bosom. And when I arose in the morning to give my child suck, behold, it was dead. But when I considered it in the morning, behold, it was not my son which I did bear. And the woman said, Nay, but the living is my son, and the dead is thy son. And this said, No, but the dead is thy son, and the living is my son. Thus spake they before the king. And then said the king, The one saith, This is my son that liveth, and the other, thy son is dead. The other said, Nay, that my son is dead, thy son is dead, and my son is living. And the king said, Bring me a sword. And he brought a sword before the king. And the king said, Divide the living child in 2, give half to the one, half to the other. Then spake the woman whose the living child was unto the king, for her bowels yearned upon her son. And she said, O my Lord, give her the living child, and in no wise slay it. But the other said, Let it be neither mine nor thine, but divide it. Then the king answered and said, Give her the living child. Not the one who said divide it, but the one who said, Don't kill the child, because her bowels were yearning on the child. Then the king answered and said, Give her the living child, and in no wise slay it. She is the mother thereof. And all Israel heard of the judgment which the king had judged, and they feared the king,
for they saw that the wisdom of God was in him to do judgment. Okay. We know the story. And these women have come to this King Solomon. And this one says, it's my son, the living son's mine. This one says, the living son's mine. They're arguing back and forth. They're arguing before the king. When I read this, okay, the last line in verse 21 says this: "Thus spake they before the king." Right? You can imagine how these two women, these two harlots, are speaking before the king. Okay? You can imagine. I can imagine the language that they're using, not just exactly what the scriptures has given to us, but it's how they're speaking in the tone that they're yelling at each other and say, it's my child, and they're arguing back and forth. And then when Solomon says, bring me a sword, I'll divide the child and give half to each. The one says, it's really her child, she said, keep it alive. But the other says, let it be neither mine nor thine, but divide it. Anybody know a woman like that? Okay? Okay, we don't have any in the room like that. But everybody knows a woman like this, right? Anybody know two women that would talk like that in front of a king? Right? Y'all know somebody like that? Kathy, you want to name a couple people that you know? No, I'm just kidding. Okay, over where you work, where your office is at, over you could hear them outside at times. Okay. I probably shouldn't say that about where her office is at. But we all know people that would talk this way. Okay? I wrote in the margin of my Bible a long time ago. I don't know when they wrote this. I wrote harlot. At the end of verse 26, the last line, drew a line to it. And I wrote harlot speak, because these women were harlots. We read about Rahab the harlot, but you never read anything bad that she ever said or did. She was probably put in that predicament or whatever. Turn with me to Proverbs chapter 7, if you will. We'll go back into Proverbs just for a few minutes. Proverbs chapter 7. We read through this chapter a couple months, maybe a month ago, I don't know, looking about different women. But look at verse 6. Proverbs chapter 7, verse 6. Everybody got it? Wait till you find it, because I'm going to read this out. You ought to read along with me. Chapter 7, verse 1 says, my son, keep my words and lay up thy commandments with me. Verse 5 says that they may keep thee from the strange woman, from the strange which flattereth with the words. So then Solomon gives this illustration to his son. He's the one that these two harlot women are arguing in front of him. Okay, so when he's writing out Proverbs, this is what he says about these women. For I looked through my house, for at the window of my house I looked at my casement, and beheld among the simple ones, I discerned among the youths a young man void of understanding, passing through the street near her corner, and he went away to her house. In the twilight, in the evening, in the black and dark night, behold, there met him with a woman with an attire of a harlot and subtle of heart. She is loud and stubborn, her feet abide not in her house. Now she without, now on the streets, and she lieth and waiteth at every corner. So she caught him and kissed him, and we'll go through the rest of the story. Okay, stop right there. Okay, I don't want to go into the rest of the story, but Solomon says, I saw this woman, and I tell by the way she's dressed and how she acted, she's loud and stubborn. I knew what kind of woman she was. Okay? She is subtle of heart, sneaky, deceptive. God sees the heart, man sees the outward appearance. Okay? He says she has the attire of a harlot, and she has this voice. This is who this person is. Okay? She's loud and stubborn. Because God can see the heart, we can't see the heart. This may not have to do with anything with the scriptures that we've read, but I think it does. The world judges Christianity by how we present it, okay? By the words that we use. There was a commercial on 15, 20 years ago trying to increase your linguistic skills. But it said that the people, and the commercial on the radio said, people do judge you by the words that you use, right? You remember hearing that commercial on the radio? It's trying to get you to buy this program to learn how to speak better. And Marie's an English teacher, retired English teacher, but you judge people with a red pen as to how they spoke, right? Or how they wrote, or what their answers were, okay? So people do judge you by the words that you use, or the tone that you have. There are certain people, you have this person over here that I don't know why I always go that this is a good guy over here and this is a bad guy over here. Maybe it's because I'm facing this direction as to the left hand or to the right hand, because the right hand. Okay, but to me, there's always somebody out there that by their tone of voice, you just don't want to be around them, right? Or the words that they use, you just don't want to be around them. And there's other people that this person may be saying the exact same thing that this person's saying, but it's got a different tone. They're saying it in a different manner. They're using different language, okay? Not Spanish, French, English, but they're using a different tone or mannerisms. The world judges Christians by how we present it, okay? And there's people that I've tried to witness to in the past that want nothing to do with Christianity because of how it's been presented to them in the past. Anybody witnessed to somebody who says, I grew up in church and don't want anything to do with it, okay? I've witnessed to people, dozens of people that want nothing to do with what their church presented, okay? When we had, a year ago, I had a meeting with all of our singers, and I said there's certain songs I don't want you to sing. There's certain types of songs I don't want to hear. I can't sit there and get ready to preach if we have a doom and gloom Christianity in our music, okay? I can't. It bothers me. I want to get up and close the Bible and say we're done. Let's go home because we're not going to do anything, okay? But okay, some Christians. Some Christianity is presented almost like I can't wait to get to heaven because my life's so terrible now. Okay, I don't want that kind of Christianity. I don't want that presented either by me or by people in our church. There's some songs that are almost like the hee-haw song, gloom, despair, and agony on me. Okay, but their Christianity is that way. Okay. There are people that will badmouth life just because their experience, okay, and their whole Christianity presented to the world. I'm not talking to the church family, but presented to the world is my life is terrible. I can't wait to get to heaven. Okay. Now my uncle Bill, he wrote a letter to he wrote a family letter every year at Christmas time, mailed it to everybody, and he was always upbeat, good Christian man. Successful businessman, great family, great kids, great grandkids. His great grandkids. Wait. Anyway, he had this upbeat letter that he'd send out every year at Christmas time. Okay, until Aunt Mary died, and they'd been married for 60 years. He was 80 years old, 80-some years old. And he started out his letter with, "This has been the worst year of my life." Remember that time? This has been the worst year of my, because for 60 years. His partner in crime, his spouse, his loving spouse, his wonderful wife, they had this great relationship in a Christian home. They had this great relationship, great outlook, great life for 60 years, and then she was taken. That was the only time in my lifetime that I could ever remember him saying anything that was like sad. Is that right, Tammy? Okay. He had a lot of bad jokes about Hillary Clinton, but I can't say those from here, okay? But I don't say that one either. Let me get to the list. No, you can't. Yeah, okay, never mind. Okay. There are some people who present their Christianity as almost like it's gloom and despair. I don't want gloom and despair. Now, we preach judgment, okay? And people ask, well, is God going to judge me for the things I've done? Well, yeah. You reap what you sow. That's judgment. That's not gloom and despair. That's change your ways. Repent now, and it'll be easy on your next. Someone comes to me now and says, "I've done this for 10 years. Am I going to reap this?" Yeah, you're going to reap what you've done for the last 10 years. In this lifetime, you're going to reap what you've done. Okay, but you start now sowing the right things. Then 10 years down the road, 1 year from now, 2 years from now, 10 years from now, you're going to be reaping the good things that you've sown. Okay. Some people present Christianity as gloom and despair. Some people, even though they're saved, they still have a harlot speak, or what's the right term? Belligerent tone, even though they get saved. Okay? But you know people like this. I've met people like this for the last 40 years, 38 years since I got saved. Some people have a self-righteous condemnation of others. You ever talk to somebody and you feel like they're always looking down at you? Okay? You know people like this. Okay, I know people in business this way. They're too good to talk to you, or whatever. I know Christians that are this way. that almost is like a condemnation of everybody else in their life. Everybody else they run into, they can always find fault with them and let everyone else know how bad everyone else is. Okay, and to me that is not. To me that's just as bad as the gloom and doom speak. That's just as bad as the harlot speak. Okay, that is presenting life in a way that is unscriptural. Okay, why are you saying on this, Brother John? We're supposed to present life. These two women standing before Solomon presented life to Solomon as who they were. That's who they were. Okay? We're supposed to present life to our king or our neighbor or whoever it is as who we are, who we really truly are. Brother John, that's why I cuss like a sailor. No, that's not what I'm supposed to cuss like a sailor. Okay? That's why I do this, this, and this. Okay, that's why I have this gloom and doom outlet. That's why I'm condescending of everybody else, because there's nobody as good as me anyway. Okay, that's not what we're supposed to do. Okay, you're a child of the King, never to be forgotten that you are a child of the King. You present yourself as if you are a child of the King to everybody you work with, to your family. To always, a lot of our testimony stuff, being thankful, was about family and church family. The people you are around during the day or during the week, you present yourself as if you are a child of the King. There's a soul winning thing that we're going to go to next Thursday night. I remember years ago I took someone out on visitation with me, and we went door to door, hang out flyers, invite people to church, and they said this is different than what they'd been with someone else before. And they said, what had happened when you went with someone else before? I said, well, they went up and knocked on someone's door and handed them a flyer. If the person didn't receive the flyer, they'd tell them they're going to hell. They turn and walk away. Well, okay, that's an approach. I guess you could take it that way. And I know some people that do that. There's a guy I went to college with. He'd try to talk to somebody. If they didn't want to listen to him, he'd give them a piece of paper. If they threw the paper on the ground, he said, you can go to hell if you want to, but I'm relieved of all responsibilities. He would turn and walk away from them. He'd do it in a funny way because it would make people think, But okay. Judges, we went through Judges a while back. Judges chapter 8, Gideon was in a battle. He was facing against these guys. He was fighting against his enemy. And he said, when he approached his enemies, he said, what were the people like that you killed? Because they killed his enemies had killed a bunch of people. He said, what were the people like that you killed? And their response was each one resembled the children of a king, like you do. Gideon said, yeah, they were my brother. Okay? We're supposed to resemble the children of a king. Okay? Does that mean pomp and circumstance that we drive the road, riding the Rolls Royce in the back seat of the Rolls Royce where someone else drives? No, that means our Heavenly Father is our King. We're a child of the King. We want to present our life that way. When Paul was writing to Timothy, 1 Timothy chapter 4, verse 12, he's be thou an example in word and conversation, in charity and spirit, faith and purity. One of the key words in that is spirit. That's what radiates from you, but it comes across in your conversation, in your words that you use. The world judges Christianity by how we present it. Remember, we were First Baptist Church, and someone came up in Brother House. Can anyone here speak Chinese? And someone from the back came up. There's thousands of people in the auditorium. Someone from the back came up and said, this person needs someone to talk to them. And an interpreter witnessed to this Chinese person that was visiting, and this person wanted to get saved. And Brother House asked the question to the interpreter, said, you didn't understand. He preached, and he said, this person couldn't understand the word he was saying. Okay? This Chinese person could not understand the word Brother House was saying. He said, why do you want to get saved if you don't understand what word I said? He says, because it looks so good. Whatever you have looks good. Okay, and that's what we're supposed to have. Charlie, when you're teaching at school, what you have, not just a history lesson, not what you have should be presented in a way, your Christianity, your life, should be presented as I'm a child of the King. And those kids may want something different. Okay? When we're at work, Vicki, those guys that you work with, those saints that you work with, Billy and all of them. But the truth is, we're supposed to present who we really are. Well, Brother John, I'm just a sinner saved by grace. I'm just barely saved. Okay? We're a child of the King. We're supposed to present it. Not the gloom and doom, not the harlot speak, not the cheap talk, whatever it is. None of that stuff. Okay. So look for a scripture that will describe what we're supposed to be like. Turn to Romans chapter 12. Romans chapter 12. I'm going to read just a couple verses. In Matthew chapter, Sermon on the Mount, Matthew chapter 5, 6, and 7, Jesus talks about as a king, what his servants are like, what his subjects of his kingdom are like. And that's what this whole chapter is talking about that. But this is kind of laid out just a little bit different. Matthew chapter 12. Look at verse 9. Let love be without dissimulation. What's dissimulation? Let your love be without hypocrisy. Abhor, that means to hate. Hate that which is evil, and cleave to that which is good. Be kindly affectionate one to another with brotherly love, in honor preferring one another, not slothful in business. Look at this way. In every one of these phrases, yes, that's the right term. Every one of these little phrases for an English teacher, not slothful in business, but it's not the whole sentence. Okay. There are people I've worked with in the past that are Christians that think God's going to take care of me no matter what, so they can be lazy all day. There's a guy that I worked with at one point. He told us he's a Christian, and every time I went to the desk where he was supposed to, in the place where he was working in the warehouse, every time I went there, he'd be sitting at the desk doodling on the big calendar, playing tic-tac-toe against himself and losing, whatever it was. And just doodling all the time, Charlie. Just like he's never, you have students like this, you walk back and they're supposed to be taking the test, and they're just daydreaming or whatever. And this guy was always doing it. But he had a testimony of, yes, I'm a Christian. But he was doodless at work. Okay? In the verse we just read, you're supposed to be diligent. Okay? Fervent. There ought to be something about us that makes us different. That ought to make us stand out at work or in our neighborhood. Something different that makes us stand out to say, I'm a child of the King. I'm a reflection of who I am, of my Father. Okay? Back to the verse of chapter 12. Romans chapter 12. Not slothful in business, fervent in spirit, serving the Lord. Rejoicing in hope, patient in tribulation, continuing instant in prayer, distributing to the necessity of saints, giving a hospitality. It's like describing you can take those 3 verses, 3 or 4 verses. Bless them which persecute you, bless and curse not. Rejoice with them who rejoice, and weep with them that weep. Be of the same mind one to another. Mind not high things, but condescend to men of low estate. Be not wise in your own conceits. Okay, you take those 5 verses right there, and maybe those ought to be the verses we put up on the wall for this year, and say this is what we're supposed to aim for, because we're not harlot speak. We're not the condemnation speak. We're not the gloom and despair speak. But that's not supposed to radiate from us. Okay, what radiates from Paul writes to Timothy, the example in spirit, that's what radiates from you, what people get from you. That'll be something different that shows up all the time. Any questions? Does this make sense, or am I just talking to myself? Does this make sense? Okay? Sometimes when I write stuff down, I say, I got this, but this fervent spirit. Does everybody see that? Do we see this different in the world? Okay? The perfect example of this is Joseph. His brothers sold him into slavery. The Lord was with him. He prospered. He worked in was a Potiphar's house. The Lord was with him. He prospered. And everybody could see it. Okay? Was it Potiphar? Was that his name? The wife lied about him, got thrown in prison, And even the jailer said, there's something different about that guy. Everywhere we go, the people we work with, our family members, who it is, everyone I say, there's something different about them. Okay, there's something, but the verse that says, "Will let love be without dissimulation?" That verse we read a few minutes ago. I thought, when I was a kid growing up, we spent a lot of time with our family, with testimonies, something like about family. Both sides of my family, my mom's side of the family, the Gearing side of the family, there was a close bond. We were together every year for a week, and there was a really close bond with that family, with that side of the family. And I thought every family had that. I didn't realize a lot of families don't have that, but we were together. We played a lot of sports, whitewater rafting, whatever. We ate a lot. We ate a lot. Okay, I was the smallest one. You can imagine how much we ate. Or the Jenkins family. We go to Ripley, or we go to my grandmother's house, which we're taming out of now. But it almost seemed like there was always this really, really tight bond. And I thought everybody had that. I thought my next door neighbors were the Woods, Jim, John, Joe, Mike, and Steve, and sister Kathy. They had all this family. I thought everybody had cousins like that. They just couldn't wait to see them. I thought everybody had family like that. They just loved to see them come. Okay, loved to have them come over. Wanted them to spend the night. We went on vacation, and we always tried to hide somebody in the back seat when we were pulling out. We tried to, like Harvey's the smallest one, tried to hide him in the back seats. We're leaving Durham, North Carolina, come back home. But my parents always kind of knew that he was back there and would stop and let him out. Walk back home 7 miles or whatever it was. He became a distance runner. Probably we led to that. But I thought everybody had that. And then as later on in life, I realized a lot of people didn't. Okay, people just didn't have that close family. I think every church ought to have that. Just like showing up. We're bringing food. We're bringing it to the hospital. Or what can we do? We're just showing up. Even if you're not invited, just show up. Okay? Just to say, what can we do? Okay? To realize that stands out to people. That fervent in spirit stands out. That love without dissimulation, without any kind of hypocrisy. Someone invited, one of our teenagers, had invited somebody here. It might have been Liza telling me this. That they invited somebody a while back, and if they'd been to church before and they didn't want anything to do with church because of the hypocrisy of the church. I think it was Liza that told me this maybe a year ago. And they said, that's not here. We don't have that here. It's not, there's not a, we're real, right? We're I know I was talking to a preacher the other day, and he said, we have watch night service. It's on Monday. We're going to have watch night service tonight. I said, we're going bowling. We're going to pray in the new year. I said, have fun, brother. We've done that before. Have at it. We're going bowling. We're going to have fun. You're going to have prayer meeting. We're going to have pizza. Okay? Well, John, that's not very spiritual. I know. There's no hypocrisy to it, right? We're real. We want to fix people. We want to help people. We want to love people, right? Alan and I went out to pick up some kids tonight. I think went there last Wednesday night. 2 of them came. A week before that, 1 of them came. And there's no consistency, okay? The truth is, we may be the only consistent people they ever meet in their life. Some of these kids that come in here with their ride with our family, come with Joey, whoever, they may be the only consistent people they see in their life. You may be the only consistent, faithful, steady person that they know. The person that you work with, that you think is such a heathen, ungodly person, needs to get saved, or whatever the need is, you may be the only light in that dark room. And that consistency, that love without dissimulation, that non-harlot speak because you won't talk that way, non-condemnation speak because you won't talk that way, non-gloom and doom speak because you won't talk that way, may stand out from them to them. The company, Tam and I told you the story a dozen times, but Tam and our company got bought out about 7 years ago, and one of our bosses said, after they'd been there a few years, a couple of years, maybe after the preacher died, and different things that happened, they said, Tammy and I handle things different than anybody. And they've worked with other preachers before. And they've worked with other Christians before. And they said, y'all handle things different than anybody we've seen. In a good way. Not in a deceptive, cheating way. Okay? Not like, oh, cheat on our taxes and sell this for in an honesty and integrity way. They said, that's the, and I think, well, ain't everybody that way? Right? Not everybody's that way. That's what stands out. That you don't have the heart speak, the gloom and doom speak, or the condemnation speak. You have true love. Let's pray. Thank you, Lord, for loving us. Help us be the Christians we ought to be in every area of our life. We want to bring honor and glory to you. Help us as we go out tomorrow to be a witness for you, for the people we work with, our family, our neighbors. Use us for your glory in every area. The kids that we're around, or the family that's broken. The people, everybody has problems. Some people's problems seem to be magnified. I pray you'll help us, to use us, to bring glory to you, to be the light to those people we ought to be. I pray that our whole church family will go next Friday night to learn how to be a better witness for Christ, to learn step by step how to lead others to Christ. Use us, please, for your glory. In Jesus' name we ask. Amen. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Eeyore, yeah. You did good. Right. Remember a year ago, PR had a challenge in Sunday school class if you can go a whole day without saying anything negative about anybody else. Can you go a whole day without? Yeah, you stay at home, watch TV all day, you don't do anything. Didn't say anything bad. Didn't talk to anybody. I text something bad, but I didn't say anything. Yeah, can you go a whole day? Very good. Anybody else? Okay. God's bless us. We're dismissed. I'm not going to try to sing. I'm going to do you a favor of not singing another song.